get started? All right, perfect. Let's go. So to start out with today, we need to address the 2 puberty videos, and I've got both of those for everybody to review.
Are you guys excited?
Ladies? Thank y'all so much for being here today.
I tried saying, gave him more time than the deadline.
Perfect.
I don't know if that ever reached him.
And these are a little less than 15 minutes.
Yes.
And thrilling. So those are the 2 videos that we show usually to 5th graders, but we were bringing it to the SHAC committee to get approval, make sure that no one had any concerns or questions, comments. Anybody? So y'all are good with us going forward with those 2 videos? Excellent. So next up is Stacy Brown. No, Amy Parker's next. Amy, if you want to go.
Yes. All right. I'm with the Child Nutrition Department, and our local wellness policy, I'm not sure if everyone knows exactly what that is, so I'm just going to read a little bit and give you an idea of what it is. So the local wellness policy is intended to be a useful tool for establishing, evaluating, and maintaining a healthy school environment and promoting transparency to the public on key areas that affect the school's nutrition and physical activity. The development of the local wellness policy will include the involvement of students and parents as well as key stakeholder groups. And so we have to evaluate our local wellness policy at a minimum every 3 years. It's encouraged to do it annually, but at a minimum, we have to do it every 3 years. So I have several handouts that were up there. If you didn't get one, go ahead and get one on your way out. But up in the right-hand corner, it says FFA local. So this is our actual policy. And this just gives you kind of a framework of what we have to include in our plan. And the plan is the FFA regulations. So this kind of gives you an idea of what we have to look at. At the very back of our regulations, there are several goals that the district had to set with objectives. So when you have some time, you can go through those. But to save some time, what I need to do is go over the wellness policy assessment tool. And I have 3 different ones. There's one broken up. It's elementary, middle school, and high school. It was just easier to do it that way versus all grades because they do things a little bit different at each grade level. So what I'm going to do is just go over the elementary, and then I'll highlight middle school and high school differences. So the public involvement, these are the different people that we had involved, and this is going over from 18-19, 19-20, and 20-21 school years. This doesn't include this school year. So for instance, I don't have a school board member on here because we didn't have a school board member on our SHAC committee last year. So the person that, and I don't know if this is still the same, Tammy, because Ron Holmgreen was the person that was over it, so that's why I put Tammy's name there. The policy is available by the district website, and we also communicate the policy and the plan on the district website. Starting with the nutrition education, our district written wellness policy includes measurable goals in nutrition education, and that is correct, that is in our plan. We offer standards-based nutrition education in a variety of subjects, science, math, health, yes. We offer nutrition education to students in all grades. Nutrition promotion. Our district's written wellness policy includes measurable goals for nutrition promotion. Again, that's in our plan. We promote healthy eating and nutrition education with signage, use of creative menus, posters, bulletin boards, etc. Yes. We have reviewed smarter lunchroom techniques and evaluated our ability to implement some of them. Yes, we do. We place fruits and vegetables where they are easy to access near cafeteria cashiers and near the front of the line. Yes. We ensure students have access to hand washing facilities prior to meals. Yes. We annually evaluate how to market and promote our school meal programs. Yes. We regularly share school meal nutrition, calorie, and sodium content information with students and families. Yes. We also do that with our nurses as well. We offer taste testing and menu planning opportunities to our students. We do that a little bit. That's something that is on the horizon of what I want to do, is adding that at least twice a year to be able to get kiddos to taste test new items. We participate in farm-to-school activities. We do not have school gardens. Well, I think Membrino does. They have school gardens. But the other campuses do not. That's something that in the future would be amazing to do, to get those kiddos to have hands-on learning. But we do have a farm-to-school program where we have fruits and vegetables that we highlight, and we've done that 4 times this year. We only advertise and promote nutritious food and beverages on school grounds, buildings, playfields, etc. Yes. We price nutritious foods and beverages lower than less nutritious food and beverages. Yes. We offer fruits or non-fried vegetables. We don't do non-fried. We don't have any fried vegetables. But we don't do it in vending machines. We don't do it in school stores or snack bars. It's only a la carte. So kiddos can come and they can purchase like a fresh fruit or like a cup of fruit, things like that. We have nutritious standards for foods, beverages served at school parties. We definitely try to promote that. It doesn't always happen, but we try. We provide teachers with samples of alternative reward options other than food and beverages. Like at elementary, sometimes they'll have like a technology day or extra recess, things like that. We promote the use of food and beverages as a reward. We try not to. That doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. Our district's written wellness policy addresses nutrition standards for USDA reimbursable meals. Yes. We operate the school breakfast program. Yes. So at elementary, we do the before, so they can come in and get their breakfast right before school. And we also have a couple campuses that do breakfast in the classroom at elementary. The following are nutritious regulations for the National School Lunch Program. We follow. Yes, we do. We operate an after-school snack program. We do not, and what Extended Day does is not according to the child nutrition regulations, because it's after school. It's 30 minutes after school when they get that snack. We have a certified food handlers as our food service manager. Yes, each of our managers and our office staff, they have their ServSafe certification, which is good for 5 years. We have adopted and implemented Smart Snack nutrition standards for all items sold during the school hours. And yes, that is a la carte. And the school day is considered the midnight before all the way to 30 minutes after the school day ends. So that's the time when kiddos are going to get items that are within the child nutrition standards. That's if they're purchasing it. Now, if they're given that food, then they don't necessarily have to meet, like for instance in a school party. Like a lot of kids, like for a birthday party, if a teacher's going to give cupcakes or whatever the case might be. That doesn't mean that we don't try to encourage something maybe healthier, but if it's sold, then it has to meet the nutrition guidelines.
Amy, could you speak up just a little bit? They're having trouble hearing you on the Zoom.
Okay, sure. Do I need to
Sorry.
bring this closer to me? This thing?
That microphone is going to be our backup audio that we put up on the recording, so
Okay.
for the Zoom, they're on that microphone.
Okay, all right.
And
Sorry.
I've been listening to the echo of you for, it's legible but not great.
Okay, sorry. I don't have that type of voice. Physical activity. Our district's written wellness policy includes measurable goals for physical activity, yes. We provide physical education for elementary students on a weekly basis, yes. We provide physical education for middle school students, and then it's going to be high school students, yes, on both. We provide recess for elementary students on a daily basis, yes. We provide opportunities for physical activity integrated throughout the day, yes. We prohibit staff and teachers from keeping kiddos from recess for punitive reasons. No, so sometimes kiddos will have to stay inside for the recess because maybe they have homework to do or behavior reasons or whatever the case might be. Then teachers are allowed to offer physical activity as a reward for students, yes. We offer before or after school physical activity. That's what Extended Day does for elementary school kids. Then the other school-based wellness activities. Our district's written wellness policy includes measurable goals for other school-based activities that promote wellness, yes, and you can find those in the plan. We provide training to staff on the importance of modeling healthy behavior, yes. We provide annual training for all staff, nutrition and physical activity, yes. We have staff wellness program, yes. We have school district staff who are CPR certified, yes. We actively promote the walk and bike and school for students. We don't have that. We don't have a program for that. We have a recycling program. We have a recognition reward program for students that exhibit healthy behavior. And last, we have community partnerships which support program, project, events, and activities, yes. So that's what this assessment is. And a lot of that is based on the plan that the district put together and the board approved. There's very minor differences between elementary, middle, and high school. And with middle school, the biggest difference is going to be under nutrition guidelines for operating breakfast. Middle school does do a grab and go. They have that option. And let's see. And then we have adopted the implemented Smart Snack nutrition standards of all items sold during the school day. So middle school and high school, they have snack bars, they have vending machines, and then they also have fundraisers. Let's see what else. And then offer after-school physical activity. Middle school and high school, they have competitive sports. So those are your main differences. So this is the assessment, the plan, and I will say the plan has not been looked at since 2017. So it definitely needs to be reviewed, and I think there's a lot that needs to be added, like counseling, safety and security. Like there's different things that we are missing that I've looked at other districts and they have. Like I've looked at Fort Worth, I've looked at Eagle Mountain, Saginaw. So there's things that we need to put in there just because it's been so long since we've updated it. But for right now, I just need the assessment tool approved.
I'll tell you, at the high school, we really appreciate that cart that you guys have put in the CPE area that helps a lot of kids come in.
Yeah, that's been really successful.
For breakfast. They just come through and they have a little breakfast cart maybe.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what you're needing from us today is approval of the plan, correct?
Of the wellness
Tool.
policy assessment tool.
It's the tool. All right. Does anybody have any concerns about it? And everybody it's an agreement. All right.
Okay, awesome. Sorry that took so long.
Question about something from what you were talking about. If the puberty videos are for 5th grade, why are 8-year-olds talked about?
It will address the changes that are going on in their body, and it talks about when.
In an 8-year-old?
Some of I can tell you that I have seen a student start their period as early as 2nd grade.
Are we going to be addressing then the hormones and the milk and the food that the children get in the school?
No, we stick strictly to that information that was on the video, and then if kids have any questions, we answer their questions factually.
Yeah, that's not just talking about, you're talking about the food that we are getting, of it having
Yeah, because
hormones.
the hormones have a whole lot to do, and the food, they have a whole lot to do with having the children start their periods in 2nd grade. That's like crazy. And also, how come when you talk about telling them someplace to go, parents are not listed first on the agenda of who they should go talk to?
I can tell you that as a nurse that's presented the video, the one time I had a student ask me a question about sex during the video, that's the exact place that I led them to. I told him that that where he needed to start was with his parents, that I thought that they would want to ask, be able to answer his questions. And some of that's left generic because we have so many kids that don't live with parents. Some of them live with aunts and uncles, some of them live with older siblings, some of them.
That would also qualify then as asking the counselor, with parents first, if you don't, then it would be counselors, then it would be further down the line.
Right, that's definitely something that we can ask our nurses to say after the presentation, if that's a concern people have, that they have questions about sex, that the first place to start is at home. Unfortunately, some of our kids don't have somebody to ask. Sometimes the only person to ask would be somebody at school or somebody outside of their home. So what I tried to do was avoid having that conversation about sex during the presentation with the students. And I would let them know that if they've gone to their parents, I'll help them talk to their parents if they have questions. And in that situation, I did call the little boy's mom and let him know that that he had questions, so that she would be open to being able to talk to him about it, and she was prepared. And then I had told him that if he still had questions, that he could come to me after he had gone to his parents. Yes, ma'am.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
So I forgot to include this, but the SHAC is the group that develops and revises the local wellness policy. So we would be the ones talking about it next year and figuring out what we want to add, what we want to revise. Then it goes to the board, and then they approve it, and we can put it on the website. So just to make that clear, not just me.
Right. Excellent. Does anybody else have any other concerns? All right, our next agenda item would be Stacy Brown talking about our textbooks.
Hi, everybody. So I want to introduce to you Jennifer Ryan. Jennifer Ryan is our multi-tiered system of support coordinator. She's our MTSS coordinator. And so she oversees a variety of different things, counseling nurses, as well as our intervention for our students specific with behavior or academic intervention. And so we have people on campuses that work with Jennifer, and we've gone through a huge revamp. That being said, she actually headed up the health and PE textbook review process this year. And I wanted her to kind of go through the specifics of what she did, and then I'll talk a little bit about where we are and what we need from you guys. Yeah? Good.
Okay, so we started off with, the state goes through a process of adopting, materials, and SBEC has, the State Board of Education also has an approval process that they have to follow in order to accept materials that are eligible through the state. We went through a review process, starting off by going to the Educational Region Center Fair, where they give you the presentations, and we make sure that any of our resources are 100% aligned to the TEKS, which are required to teach. And our committee went to, then after we brought back our committee all the options that are available that met all requirements to our PE and Health Committee, Adoptions Material Committee. They were representing community members, staff members, teachers for PE and health. So we had a wide variety all the way from K-12 in that particular committee. They were all provided each of the resources that were eligible for adoption, folders that included resources, links, logins, hard copies of the ones that we did have hard copies of, and reviewing a rubric for feedback and review to submit, and then also a selection option. We met 2 different times collectively, and we separated into an elementary time and a secondary time. So we met collectively as a committee to review, to dive through, to explain the process, the requirements, and also answer any questions. They were all provided the TEKs, and some of the members that aren't teachers weren't as familiar, so they were, we were explained what we're required to teach and that we need to align our resources to the best that we can effectively for our students. So like I said, we met twice and then asked for their submissions after they had time over that month to review the materials, and they've been also on display digitally and physically out for anybody in the public and committee members that they went to share the information with. So they went back to their committees at their schools and community members, and also shared information with them to this point. So that's kind of where we are.
So we did have a member of our SHAC committee actually do part of the deep dive into the all levels of the textbook adoption, just so that you know that there was somebody involved with everything. Specifically with our SHAC committee, we have some specifics that are written in statute that we have to approve certain adoptions or certain curriculum outside of human sexuality. And so specifically in statute, it goes into recommending curriculum material for obesity prevention, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and then it also goes into suicide, opioid addiction, and abuse. The rest of the requirements fall under the human sexuality, child abuse, family violence, all of the different programs that we've approved so far, okay? So we are looking for volunteers to be part of a review committee for the SHAC committee. From the standpoint, it's like a committee within a committee. And so what they're going to do is they're going to look specifically, if it says that we teach diabetes in 4th grade, they are going to go to the resources and look at the specific lesson that is tied to diabetes. If it's not taught, obviously there's not going to be something that you have to look in. In kindergarten, we don't teach the term diabetes, so, that kind of thing. So we're looking for kind of a subcommittee. That committee will take a couple of weeks because the focus is very narrow as to specifically what the SHAC recommends. And they will go through the resources, have the links, books, etc., and they will go through reviewing the lessons that are associated with those additional topics. And so we are looking for volunteers. We'd like them to get started as soon as possible. Who would like to join this? I'm like,
Call to action.
I heard, did somebody, I was like, I can't read that.
I will volunteer.
Okay.
I don't know who's on.
I think it was Courtney Gore, I think. She got my glasses on today.
Perfect, thank you, Courtney.
Perfect, thank you, Courtney. That's 1. You don't, let me have it if we do it this way. You don't have to do all levels. If you're like, hey, I want to look at the elementary, as long as we have representation for the different levels, we're good with it.
Do they have to meet again, is what you're saying? You have to have another meeting?
We have to have one meeting specifically.
With
so
that subcommittee?
Yes, that's subcommittee meeting. And then they'll come back and present to the SHAC committee, this is what we found, this is what the teachers selected, we can recommend this along with them. The teachers have been through this process, and so they have what they have selected. And let me just make sure that everybody knows, not a wide variety to choose from as far as 100% conforming or close with regards to the TEKS. So basically, it's 2 considerations at each level.
I think
Betsy
that's-
Ross has volunteered.
Betsy Ross has volunteered. Thank you, Miss Betsy.
I'll volunteer, Stacy.
Thank you, Amy. All right. Anybody else dying to get in there? Yeah.
Stacy, I would like to volunteer, but there's so many things that come up in the spring at the hospital. don't
I
know
understand.
here. Yeah.
I absolutely understand. Yes. And, okay, so we'll move forward, you guys, with these. Courtney, Betsy, and Amy will be in touch about possibly getting together. Again, it's a very narrow scope from the standpoint that they specifically say obesity prevention, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and then suicide, opioid addiction, and abuse. There are, oh, you do too? Awesome. Will you spell your name?
Yes, Deanna, it's DEANNA,
Okay. Okay. I would have left out the other A. You know. All right. And we'll, I know that Jennifer had kind of a sign-in sheet. Deanna, Betsy, Courtney, Amy.
Emails of those that were.
I was going to say, we'll get some emails from you. We will reach out to you and let you know what we're doing. Okay.
Is this something that's done annually?
So this was new. This was a new part of the TEKS where they have the shack with specific things that they want them to recommend when we go to the board to talk about the textbook adoption. So this particular textbook adoption, it goes roughly for, we would say, 8 years is a typical cycle of adoption. We did find out some interesting thing about changes in the digital, what they have to go through if they make any changes to a digital program.
Okay, Christy Clyer, I hope I'm saying that right, will do elementary.
Awesome.
Betsy Ross said she'll do a couple of grade levels. Courtney Goer would really like to take the suicide prevention and opioid use.
Okay.
Yeah, if they make any digital changes, it has to be approved and goes to the commissioner and everything. So people that were worried about it being live and merging into something it, wasn't intended for, it has to go through a whole approval process for that. So that was comforting to a lot of people.
Because with digital subscriptions, sometimes you end up all of a sudden, but based upon what they said, has to be approved by the commissioner and go back through, which means we would be notified. And if it was something that we said, we don't cover that, et cetera, that we would bring it back to you guys or just say, we're good. All right, so I've got a topic we're going to go back through. We're going to highlight those specific things at the specific grade level, which they fall. And so the only other thing that I was going to bring up, and it kind of connects, it's like a bridge over to the Brazos Pregnancy Center. At our last meeting, I believe it was our last meeting, we voted that the presentations from Brazos Pregnancy Center Mission Granbury were for specifically 7, 8, 9, and 11. That's what we determined. That being said, we're going to consider the puberty videos for 5th grade. That leaves out 6th, that funny little area that is 6th grade. And there is a large amount of information in the health TEKS that is specific to the strand. It's a reproductive and sexual health strand. So for us, we're like, that has to do with human sexuality. It's not to the extent of what 7th and up needs, and it's more than what 5th grade needs. So 6th grade has a unique strand within it that talks a lot about describing characteristics of healthy dating, of relationships and of marriage, including explaining that each person in a relationship should be taught with dignity and respect. And so it goes into some specific things that no other grade level does. And after talking with Heather today a little bit, she has quasi-volunteered to develop a presentation off of the TEKS to bring to you as a SHAC committee for the use for our 6th grade students, so that we have another option, which is always good. So, thank you for that very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, very, very, very much. And leading into yours, an update on the public meetings, yes.
Oh, am I supposed to
Yes.
say? Oh, okay, it went well. We didn't have a lot, sorry, I didn't realize I was gonna, we didn't have a lot of people, but the feedback was really good, I feel like, don't you think? I thought it was
So you
great.
did have some people.
We
did have some
did.
people, but not,
It
not
was-
the people that were on, line.
It
It
was
was just,
more people who were concerned. They wanted to make sure that we were giving definitions to
Yeah.
students, that they understood what words meant, that we were addressing both boys and girls. There were some people who wished that we could do more.
Yeah.
Like that we could start it earlier and do. I think that was probably the biggest concern, is that if we could do a longer presentation, like over a 6 weeks period, so.
Which
So
we
they were excited. It seemed like most people
Yeah.
were very excited about the program.
that's good.
Excellent. And then the only thing left is if anybody has any suggestions for the topics for our last SHAC meeting in May. And we may actually, yes, Stacy Brown.
We would like to bring the SHAC back together again on, I think we said
April
April
6th.
6th.
Yes, to discuss what the textbook recommendations are, so that we can all then come to consensus agreement after they make the recommendations. So, April 6th, everyone.
12 o'clock.
And that's just
12.
going to be for textbook?
Just for textbooks.
Yes.
Could I ask a question? Amy Parker, when you mentioned counseling, like more counseling you'd like to see, what are you referring to on that?
I think just the counseling that the district offers, or if they refer out, to any type of counseling.
Okay, mental health, type things, yeah, okay.
It also has to do with the comprehensive counseling program, which falls under SHAC as well. So that's going to tie in where all the counselors get together and we have a comprehensive program, so that we're all together.
So maybe for the last meeting, is the last meeting still in May?
Yes.
Maybe you can bring some of those examples that show more, because then we're going to be moving forward next year, reviewing this and updating it more. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Excellent.
And so if you brought us some examples, then we could all think about it over the summertime on what we like, what we don't, and put it on a shelf and hopefully find it again and bring it back.
Okay.
That'd be great.
I can do that.
And then, I don't know if we have a choice. The question about, are we looking at some of our foods that have hormones and that kind of a thing? I think that you guys probably can have a short conversation, and you might have to look into that if it's even possible with your suppliers. Right. Okay, I'm done, sorry.
No, that's good.
I just wanted it to be addressed, right? She asked the question.
So Elizabeth, specifically for the 5th grade puberty videos, there is some question that's associated with the splitting of the students. I know we have the boys video and the girls video. We have always in the past, that I know of, always split those two, have 2 male teachers in the room with the boys, 2 or more female teachers with the girls, just as a point of interest on the videos.
Yes. So the girls watch the girls' video and the boys watch the boys' video.
And it is still part of the opt-in.
It is.
Curriculum.
So, and we will
From the
have
standpoint,
two open parent meetings about this now coming up, and then this will also move to the board. So we're not the final, we're just making the recommendation. The next step is the 2 parent meetings, and then take the information to the school board for approval. And if y'all feel like it should be the nurses that give both presentations, we can make sure that the nurses are in the girls and the nurses are in the boys, and whatever recommendations y'all have, I'm open to anything. I'd love to hear input.
Do you ever have counselors in those meetings? Not necessarily.
I'm trying to think, probably at every campus it's different. I know that at Mambrino, I can speak to what my experience was in the past,
Because
and we
I
haven't.
know sometimes we're juggling like hygiene issues with kids. 'Cause,
Oh, yes.
you know, they'll call us and say, hey, can you do something about talking to this kiddo about their hygiene? And
Yes.
I'm like, isn't that the school nurse? No.
I've played that game before. Yeah, I think that's great. I think between the nurses and the counselors, that's a great team to help present the information to students. And that way you can ensure that it's factual information that's been given to both boys and girls. And then if your concern was about making sure that we refer people to their parents, I think that that's something that we could say verbally to the students, like, hey, why don't you all make sure that if you have questions, you go to your parents first or your guardians, whoever you live with, and then if you have additional questions, then you can come back to us if it is related to sexual content. I don't think that's really probably the place in the middle of the open meeting anyway to ask those questions.
I think a lot of it will be fixed from the standpoint that parents can come and view the video on the different campuses prior to it
Right.
being shown, prior to them giving an opt-in letter, as well as notification at the beginning of the year that these are the following things we have been approved to bring in. We will tell you when it gets closer to let you sign that you're okay with us participating,
Do we
or
have-
your child
Do
participating.
you have rights to that video that we could post it on?
It's on YouTube, actually. So if
Okay.
it's on YouTube, we could just post the
Yeah,
YouTube links
so we
to
can
it.
post-
If you can watch it from anywhere.
Yeah, that would help.
And
'cause a
that
lot of
way, if
people are-
parents have
yeah.
concerns, they can watch it outside of just our two public meetings.
So we probably need to note that we need to make a spot for some of those presentations that we can share.
Right.
Need to be there for the health presentations, for parents who can't make it.
Excellent. Anybody else, any recommendations for next week? Any other questions about this meeting?
Was there any talk, I just thought about this, with all of these opt-in things that we have to do?
Yes.
I know when I was at the Glen Rose Shack meeting, they were wondering if they could do like a, you know, when they fill out all their paperwork at the beginning of the year, can they agree at that point, or do we, I'm guessing the answer is no. I just figured I would throw it out there.
Say that one more time, Tracy.
Well, you know, in the beginning of the school year, when parents fill out a ton of paperwork, or on Skyward, or however y'all do that, is there a way, or is it even legal, which I'm thinking I probably know it's not, but anyway, can they say, yes, I agree to this, yes, I agree to that?
No,
That's what
but
I
that's
thought.
a great
I was like,
suggestion.
I think it's better anyway, as we're trying to be transparent with
Yeah.
families, that we have a letter that goes home right beforehand, a good 2 weeks before the presentation, they have the opportunity to ask any questions, and that way parents feel like they're involved and that they've been notified.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I
with
specifically just worry about letting the parents know, but it is what it is. It's, the law is the law, so.
Right.
And specifically, what we send home at the beginning is just, hey, parents, heads up, and in grade 7, you know, the Browse Pregnancy Center will be coming in to present, you know, and we'll give like a rundown of the following teaks regarding human sexuality. An opt-in letter will be available for you to sign 2 weeks prior to when, you know, the information will be presented. So we're telling you it's coming, and then it's coming, and then the teachers will follow up in between and say, hey, the kids didn't sign. Yeah, or the parents didn't sign, then they won't attend. That's okay. Yeah.
When do you want me to have the 6th grade? Would you like that?
Tomorrow. If we could have it, either, if you can get it by the 6th, well, that would be brilliant. If you can't, then we can put it on the May 10th agenda.
I'm sure I can have it by the 6th.
That would be amazing.
Like at least a rough, something like.
Right, like.
And then maybe flesh it
Yeah.
out more in May if we
Right.
need to.
Okay,
Yeah, and I can send you the specific
if you don't
teaks
mind,
and we'll
that'd be
go from
great.
there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank y'all all so much for
Thank you.
participating and being here today.
Goodbye, Zoom people.
Bye. We'll see you April 6th.
Yes.
Oh, I had a
Surprise.
question.
Yes.
I was a part of the PE, like, subcommittee.
Yes, ma'am.
Did we ever meet? Or did it?
Do y'all know, I think that may have had the
Can't
PE
help.
subcommittee. Do you know anything about that? I know there was talk about it whenever I was out with COVID.
So specifically, yes, what we will do is there is a subcommittee that is physical health and well-being, kind of a subcommittee where we'll start talking, that we will sign up for. We can sign up for on April 6th if you guys want to, and then follow up on the 10th as well.
So there was no meeting prior, because I signed up a while back, so they didn't meet this year?
They did not. In fact, the one that did sign up, other than you, jumped in on the textbook adoption.
Okay.
Okay, would you like to jump in on that?
I can help if you help, yes.
Okay, that would be awesome. And you spell your name for me?
Katie Carr, K-A-T-I-E-C-A-R-R.
Okay. Perfect. Yay, Katie. Very good job.
Oh, really? Yeah. It just made me kind of laugh.